Hey, I'm Liz, and in this video, I'm gonna give you a few of my own personal tips on how to set this REI Skyward tent up, and also how to take it down, pack it away, and roughly how long it takes. So I unboxed this tent, brand new from REI, and here's everything that I got in the box. Here we have the stakes and guidelines in a small bag, the poles in a slightly bigger bag, the tent body here, the rain fly, and the bigger overall carry bag right here. Let me take everything out of their individual bags and I'll show you what else I got. So here's a pole repair splint that you get just in case one of your poles break. Here are the guidelines, I got 6 of them. Here are 10 stakes, and here are the 7 poles. I'll arrange them properly and explain each one to you later. For now, here are the instructions that came sewn onto the bag, and I found them pretty good actually. I just looked at these instructions and figured out how to put the tent up. To set up this REI Skyward, first unfold the tent body on the ground and position it the way you prefer it to be. To do so, just look for the front door right here. You can kind of tell from the opening in the tent right here. Also, the webbing loops at the back of the tent are brown while those near the door are blue, so that's another way to tell where the front and the back is. Now grab the first 2 poles that we need, which are these 2 bendy poles. Notice how certain sections of the pole are deliberately bent. Don't worry, it's not a defect or anything, and these are our roof poles. Go to the tent and look for the 2 blue pole sleeves that run diagonally across the tent. Here's what one of them looks like up close, and you gotta sleeve the 2 roof poles through these blue pole sleeves. They're a little bit long and the poles have curved sections, so it might be a little bit snaggy. And here's a quick look at what the roof poles look like when you're done sleeving them through. Now it's time for the next 4 poles, which are these 4 leg poles. Let me put them together and I'll show you what to look out for. One end of the poles, so this part here is to be attached to the roof poles that we put up just a minute ago. The other end of these poles, so like these smaller tips, are to go into the grommets at the bottom of the tent. This is me attaching the first pole. The top of the pole goes into the roof poles, just like this, and the small tip at the bottom is to go into this grommet right here. Now, before putting up the poles, one tip I have for you here is to stake down the tent body lightly. I found that this made putting up the tent much easier. Use these webbing loops at the 4 corners of the tent to stake it down lightly. If you don't stake the tent down and you're putting this up by yourself, this will happen. So I really think that staking it down lightly really helps to stabilize the tent and makes putting it up easier. Now, I'm going to attach the second leg pole, and this pole is at the opposite end of the first leg pole. The other 2 poles for now aren't attached because they're just going to drop off anyway while I'm setting up the first 2 poles. Okay, so first go to one end of the pole and insert that pole tip into the grommet at the corner of the tent. Then go to the other end, so the second leg pole, lift the tent up by the pole sleeve as much as possible, push as much of the pole through the sleeve as you can until you can insert that pole tip into the grommet as well. If you can't get it in yet, you can just stick the pole into the ground to give it some support while attaching the next few leg poles. Now go ahead and do the same thing with the 3rd leg pole and then the 4th leg pole. I found that the last pole is usually quite difficult to get in, so to do so you might have to walk around the tent and make adjustments to the tent body and stuff. And also unstaking the stakes that we put in just a few minutes ago might help as well. When you do get the last pole in, it's gonna look super bent, so just go ahead and adjust everything as much as possible until it looks okay. Once you've got that done, go ahead and attach all the pole clips of the tent body to the poles. There are 2 pole clips to attach to each pole, so altogether you've got 8 pole clips to attach. Now it's time for the last of the 7 poles, which is this awning pole, and as you can tell, it's a little bit thinner than the rest of the poles. First, put this pole together and then insert it into the short pole sleeve at the front of the tent. Then insert one end of the pole tip into the grommet at the left of the tent, and I'll show you close-ups of this in just a bit. Next, arch the pole upwards and use as much strength as possible to get the second pole tip into the grommet on the right. I'm not gonna lie, this was actually the most difficult pole to set up. The fit was just so tight. The first time around, I think I took a good 15 minutes just trying to get this pole into place. Okay, so here are the close-up shots. Here's the pole tip at the left of the tent, here's the entire pole, and here's the other pole tip at the right. Before the next step, I recommend zipping the door up first, and then the next step is to stake down or re-stake the tent body down. So basically, just stake down the four corners of the tent first, then zip both sides of the awning up, and then stake it down as well with these awning straps. And here's what the tent will look like for now. Now it's time to get the rainfly up. The easiest way to do this is to first attach one side of the rainfly to the tent first. Each corner of the fly has these toggles which are to go into the loops on the tent body. Also take note that this corner is color-coded black, this corner is black as well, this corner is black too, and only the last corner here is red in color. So both the webbing on the fly and the webbing on the tent body are red, so you just gotta find this red corner and attach it first. Also, make sure that the fly is upside down when you attach it to the tent. If it's upside down, you'll be able to see these red Velcro strips and also the seam taping on the fly. Now, I usually like to grab one of the corners of the fly and then go by the back of the tent, not the front of the tent with the awning because I'm not very tall, and then I drag the entire rainfly along with me. Secure the two other corners of the rainfly to the loops on the tent body as well. The fly doesn't sit very well yet because we're not done with it. To secure the rainfly, we gotta do two things. The first is to attach the red Velcro straps on the underneath of the rainfly to the black Velcro on the tent body. There are 4 of these for the 4 corners of the rainfly. And the second thing is to adjust the fly if you need to. The 2 corners of the fly nearest to the awning come with an extra buckle for you to adjust the tension of the fly. Here's a close-up shot of what one of the buckles looks like. The 2 other corners don't have this buckle though. And when you're done with the fly, it should sit a lot better and should look something like this. Now it's time to guy out the tent. I've got 6 guy lines and only 4 stakes left, so you gotta buy 2 extra stakes to guy out the entire tent if you need to. Here's 3 of the guy lines on one side of the tent. Just attach the guy lines to the tent using a simple hitch and then guy them up. And here's some close-up shots of what the guy out points on the tent look like. Do the exact same thing with the 3 guy lines on the other side of the tent. And that's it, your REI Skyward is finally set up. And now here's a full time lapse of me setting up the entire REI Skyward 4 on my own with no help from anyone else. But before I let you know how long this entire setup took me, if you found this setup video and my tips helpful, it would mean so much if you could help me hit that like button. Thank you, and I really appreciate it. Moving along, the entire setup process, including staking and guying out the entire tent, took me about 11.5 to 12 minutes. But I've set up my Skyward tent at least half a dozen times, and I've already broken into tent. So if you're setting this up for the first time, and your tent hasn't been broken in yet, it'll take a lot longer, especially because some of the poles, like the awning poles, take quite a bit of strength to get in place the first time around. For the takedown of the Skyward, it's pretty simple, just the opposite of the setup, and taking down the entire tent took me just 5 minutes. As for the pack away, that's usually the more difficult part, and here's how I normally do it. First, the rainfly. I pack it up by folding it in half as much as I can while tucking all the guy lines in nicely. I don't remove the guy lines because I'm too lazy to do so, but you can if you want to. Then for the tent body, I usually just fold it in half 1, 2, 3 times, and then it gets small enough to fit back into the carry bag like this widthwise. Now I roll the tent body up first while using my weight to push out as much of the remaining air as possible. Oh, one tip I have for you here is to leave the door open when you're taking the tent down, which makes it a little easier to get the air out. If you don't get enough of the air out, it's not going to be able to fit back into the carry bag, which was a little bit small for my liking. After the tent body goes into the bag, I pack up the rest of the poles and the stakes back into their separate small carry bags. Then I push the poles in first because that's the second most bulky item to pack away. Basically, I always pack away the bulkiest to the least bulky. Then the stakes go in, and finally, the rainfly. Here's a top-down view. Here's the tent body, the rainfly and stakes are here, and the poles are here. This entire pack away took me about 7 minutes, so the total timing for the takedown and the pack away comes up to about 12 minutes. For more details on this REI Skyward, like spaciousness, features, rain tests, and loads more, do check out my full review on the screen here. Thank you for watching this set of video. I hope it helped you a little bit. You're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.